In foreign policy, ideas change fast. What's a big deal one week is ancient history the next. But what if I told you there's one idea about Iran that's been hanging around almost unchanged for nearly 40 years? Today, we're going to trace a line from a really tense interview back in 1987 all the way to today's headlines. And it all leads to one big question.
And yeah, this is the question. Are we looking at a U.S. strategy for Iran that's been quietly sitting on a shelf for 39 years? Or is this just some wild prediction that happened to come true? Let's dive into the evidence and see what we can figure out.
Okay, so before we jump in our time machine and go back, we need to get a handle on what's happening right now. Let's start with the recent comments that drag this old idea back into the spotlight.
Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil, which is along the sea?
This interview with Trump was recorded in 1987, where he is asked multiple questions about Iran by Barbara Walters.
Let them have Iran. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
Do we want a war? What do you mean we take their oil?
You go in. You're
How
gonna have
do
a
we
war,
go
Barbara.
in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in?
Attacks this country. Go in and grab one of their big oil installations. And I mean grab it and keep it.
This is a recent quote from Donald Trump, and wow, it doesn't leave much to the imagination, does it? It's a super direct proposal. If there's an attack, the U.S. should go in and literally take a major Iranian asset. The key phrase that jumps out, grab it and keep it. Now, you have to understand, this wasn't just some off-the-cuff remark. The context here is everything. First, he said this to the Financial Times, which is a huge deal. Second, he's talking about a very specific place, Kharg Island. That's the main hub for pretty much all of Iran's oil exports. And all of this is happening while thousands of American troops are being moved into the region. So you can see the stakes are pretty high. And this is where the story gets really, really interesting. Because this exact idea, it's not new. Not at all. To find out where it came from, we have to go all the way back to 1987. All right, picture this. It's 1987. We're watching a major TV interview, and the whole conversation is about America's foreign policy with Iran. And something that was said back then is going to sound spookily familiar. Just listen to that phrasing. Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil? That's from the interview in 1987. The thinking behind it is identical to what we're hearing today. If you want to project strength, you go and you physically take their oil. It is an absolutely uncanny echo across the decades. So to give you the full picture, this was an interview with the legendary journalist Barbara Walters. And right in the middle of a discussion about Iran, this was the big suggestion put on the table. Just seize their oil. Use it as a direct power move. Okay, now let's put these two moments side by side. This is where that 39-year parallel becomes impossible to ignore. Just look at the language here. 1987, go in and take over some of their oil. Today, go in and grab one of their big oil installations and keep it. The words, the target, the core message, it's fundamentally the same idea, separated by almost 4 decades. It's kind of wild. Which brings us right back to our main question. Now that we've seen the evidence from 1987 and from today, we have to face it head on. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, it's that this idea of seizing Iranian oil isn't some new radical thought that just popped up. Nope. It's been a consistent part of the conversation, talked about in almost the exact same way for nearly 40 years. And that leaves us right here with this final thought. It's incredibly rare for a policy idea to stick around with this kind of consistency for 39 years. So the question you're left with is a pretty powerful one. Was this just a prediction of what was to come? Or have we been watching a plan decades in the making this whole time?